Ask Tom on Home Show.
Lynn from Round Rock, Texas has some attic worries.
Yeah, it's foam in the attic, she says. We bought a 45-year-old house, she says, last year with spray foam insulation on the attic roof decking and old fiberglass bat insulation above the ceilings. And the old gable vents were covered when the spray foam was installed. Let's her guess anyway. And there's no soffit vents. In the winter, the attic is comfortable, but in the summer, it seems incredibly hot with no ventilation. So we took a hygrometer, thermometer, and it shows that the temperature stays about the same as outdoors, and the humidity is right about 55%. The lack of fresh air, though, worries me. Should we get a vent installed, maybe a solar-powered vent? Tom, what say you?
The whole idea, and this was not done on when it was originally built, the whole idea of a sealed attic is it's sealed. So keep it sealed if that's what you want to do. Now, there's people have to remember, because you'll hear me when I talk about Houston, Gulf Coast, all this kind of thing, never seal an attic. There are places you can get away with it. Round Rock, Texas, being so dry, probably is not going to have the harmful effects that you would have in Houston with all the humidity. Her humidity was 55%, which is actually kind of high sometimes for Round Rock. But the temperature being outside and inside, that's what you're looking for. There's a lot of insulation in there. I don't know why they did it. If there wasn't the insulation sprayed on the attic, then I would say let's open it up with lots of ventilation, get rid of the humidity, put a radiant barrier in there. Then the attic wouldn't be as hot, and it would be cooler, especially at night when it cools down. But I don't think there's anything bad about what's happening to her right now, and I would not open it up, because if you let's say you put a solar vent in, something's got to feed it. Now you got to open up and take all the foam out around the bottom so the air from the soffit vents can feed the fan so the other air can go out. It can't go one way. You got to have in, you got to have out. You got to have it replaced constantly. So right now I would say leave it alone. You're in an area of the country where it's not going to be real detrimental to you. You did the right thing by measuring hygrometer, which is relative humidity, and your temperature with your thermometer. So I love that. And I would say move on to other things in the home. It's probably pretty efficient, and you're in such a dry, hot area that it's not going to be detrimental to the house.
Yeah, when I read that question when it first came in, I saw where she said temperature outside and inside are about the same. I thought, well, isn't that what you
Yes.
preach? And
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then as far as, anyone who's watched you for any period of time, Tom, knows that you'll talk about ridge vents and soffit vents and radiant barriers and all that, and that's because of where we are in the Gulf Coast here in Houston. But are there areas of the country, what areas would you not put ridge vents and soffit vents and use that approach?
Well, you can do the sealed attic systems in areas like Colorado, all through the northern climate areas. If you do it right, you've got to be careful not to have any leaks, so it has to be done really well. I'm not a big fan of it, but it does work in certain areas, but not in a humid, hot, wet mess like the Gulf Coast, which we all love. But Charlie, that's, people can research this and look at these things and see where the studies are done. Whether it's Illinois, where all the ridge vent studies were done in Illinois, so we have to extrapolate different things for different areas. But one of the things of pride I take is when I started in Houston, then we kind of branched out, you and I together, to other cities, but we ended up coming back to Houston primarily. Now with the internet, other people are watching and listening. But this was always a show and answers for the Gulf Coast region, and I took a lot of pride in that because that's what my expertise is. I studied in Miami. I've always lived in that Zone 3 area for the majority of my life. And so that's what I take a lot of pride in. And the perfect example of the opposite is you take Tommy from Ask This Old House on PBS in the Northeast. They're all Northeast with their carpentry skills and the way they approach their projects. Totally different. They've tried to break into the South with some of their shows. It didn't work. Even go back to the Bob Vila days when he tried doing some shows in Florida and stuff, and they were all a bust because their audience is where they are, and their audience is very good, and it's for a lot bigger area of the country.
Yeah, because their office is in a band,
That's it. But
you know
where Tommy goes, because I've met him every summer for 1 month. He goes
West.
to Key West, Florida, and rents a house, and his family goes down with him.
You know why?
I like the guy. He's a very nice guy.
You know why? He's wicked smart.
There you go. Whatever.
You got a question? Tom's wicked smart too. He'll help you out. Visit HomeShowRadio.com there and fill out that form. Send it in, and we won't hang in the ad. We'll go ahead and answer your question. And Tom will. I'm sorry. I'm going back to my New Hampshire roots here. So anyway,
you're gonna sell me a Sam Adams now here, right? Samuel Adams. Okay, fine.
I don't know about that, but anyway, go ahead and send it in. Tom will answer. We post a new one every day at HomeShowRadio.com, our Facebook page, our YouTube channel.